Hello students, we are about to be reading Act 3 of Julius Caesar, and this is Scene 2. So if you don't have your books, go ahead and pause the video and go grab them. As we begin, Julius Caesar has just been killed. The conspirators are bathing in his blood. The commoners are very unsure of what to think. There's complete chaos. As usual, we will listen to the play and I will occasionally pause it so I can explain to you or give you some important points.
Then follow me and give me audience, friends. Cassius, go you into the other street and part the numbers. Those that will hear me speak, let them stay here. Those that will follow Cassius, go with him, and public reason shall be rendered of Caesar's death.
Some of you go with Cassius, and some of you come with Brutus, and we will explain to you why Caesar had to die.
Brutus is ascending. Silence! Be patient to the last. Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause, and be silent that you may hear. Believe me for mine honor, and have respect to mine honor that you may believe. Censure me in your wisdom, and await your senses that you may the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, aye, to him I say that Brutus' love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more.
This is a very important line in the play. As we talked about before, Brutus's main motivation is that he loves Rome. So he tells the crowd, there may be some of you out there that are friends of Caesar, but I was a friend of Caesar. It wasn't that I didn't love him, it's that I loved Rome more.
Had you rather Caesar were living and die all slaves, than that Caesar were dead to live all free men? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. Yes. There is tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition.
So we have a little bit of a false dilemma here, which means that Brutus gives only two possible outcomes to what could have happened to Rome. He says either Caesar lived and you would have all become slaves, or we had to kill Caesar so that Rome could remain free. Of course, those are not the only choices, but Brutus makes it sound like that, and because the crowd is in such an emotional state, they are really just eating that up. He says, I praise Caesar for all of his good things. I love him, so I weep for him. But because he is ambitious, I slew him. I killed him. Now remember, ambitious nowadays means a go-getter, a really good thing. It's a compliment if you're called ambitious. But in the play, it is a negative connotation. It has a negative connotation. It means that you are greedy for power or for money. So keep that in mind, because that is going to be the big reason why they say they killed Caesar.
Who is here so base that would be a bondman? If any speak, for him have I offended. Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak, for him have I offended. Who is here so vile that would not love his country? If any speak, for him have I offended. I pause for a reply. None have I offended. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol, his glory not extenuated wherein he was worthy, nor his offenses enforced for which he suffered death.
What that means is, in the Capitol's records, we didn't erase any of the good things that Caesar did, and we did not exaggerate any of the bad things. We just told the complete truth. Remember, Brutus feels like he has done the right thing. He is striving to be pure at heart in this situation. even though he may not actually be.
Here comes the body, mourned by Mark Antony. Though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying, a place in the commonwealth, as which of you shall not. With this I depart, that as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself when it shall please my country to need my death.
This is a very sweet line, kind of creepy in some ways, but it is sweet. Brutus says, "This is the dagger with which I stabbed Caesar. I did it for the good of Rome. If the good of Rome ever needs me to be killed, if I ever need to be stabbed so that Rome is better off, you may have this dagger and you have the permission to stab me." Which, the whole reason this line is important is because it reminds us that Brutus's sole thought is to love his country. He is a true patriot. Misled, yes. A little gullible, yes. But he is striving to be a good citizen.
Home unto his house. Even a statue with his ancestors. Let him be Caesar's benefactor. Shall be crowned in Brutus. Bring to his house with shouts and clamors.
My countrymen!
Peace, silence, Brutus.
Good countrymen, let me depart alone, and for my sake stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse, and grace his speech tending to Caesar's glories, which Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. I do entreat you not a man depart, save I alone, till Antony have spoken.
Stay ho, and let us hear Mark Antony.
Okay, so Mark Antony is about to get up and speak. Now remember, there were several requirements for Mark Antony to speak. He had to follow Brutus. He could not speak first. He cannot blame the conspirators. He must speak only good of Caesar. There are several things that he is required to do in order to speak, and you're going to find that he plays by the rules, but he does, because he is mentally stronger, he is able to kind of still woo the crowd in his direction by playing with rhetoric. So I want you to really pay attention to that. Now Brutus is about to leave, which is a big mistake because he's leaving Antony in charge of this mob that is very emotional and easily swayed. So let's see what happens.
For Brutus' sake, I am beholden to you. What's to say of Brutus? He says for Brutus' sake he finds himself beholden to us all.